If you use Nextflow, you'll probably be familiar with the Nextflow log files that it creates. These are typically called .nextflow.log in your launch directory, and they contain all of the debug, info, warning, and error log messages that Nextflow emits as you run a pipeline. They're super useful when you're debugging errors and problems, but they're very verbose and can be a little bit difficult to wade through. I'm happy to announce 2 new features, one in Nextflow itself, and one in the VS Code Nextflow extension, both of which help you to read Nextflow log files and hopefully make your debugging experience just a little bit easier. Let's take a look. So I'm in a directory where I've run Nextflow a bunch of times. I've got my work directory there and several Nextflow log files. So if I use less to look at one of these, or it could be cat or head or whatever you're used to, you can kind of see this wall of text, which is quite difficult to wade through. Now I can search using a backslash. So if I do /warn, I kind of hop straight there. So it is possible to work through these, but they're just a bit dense and it's kind of hard to find the information you want, especially in a longer log file if your pipeline's been running for hours and hours or days. And so Nextflow log file is a new subcommand which is part of Nextflow itself. Do nextflow log file and then either give it a specific file name, the same as you would, or if you leave it blank, it will just take the most recent run in your work directory. You can also give it the name of a Nextflow run if you want, like the Curious Babbage or whatever the random run name is. So if I do Nextflow log file and then this specific log file again, it works just the same. It passes it to my default terminal pager, so I can still scroll, I can still search and everything, but you can see straight away that I've got formatting. I've got kind of syntax formatting, so all the different fields from a log file are much easier to pull apart, the level, the date, and all the debug messages are automatically at a lower opacity, so a dimmer. And then the info ones are regular brightness, and if I hop down to a warning statement, you can see that's highlighted bright yellow and the errors are in red. This is a small thing, but it makes the log file much easier to scan and to read, especially if you don't really know what you're looking for. And hopefully means all the information is still there if you want it, but it's a bit easier to filter. Now on that note, I can also add a -level, and that really does filter the message. So if I do -level warn, then I just get warning messages and above. Or if I do level info, it will just remove all the trace and the debug messages and look kind of the same as it did on the command line when I ran it. This is really useful, especially for AI agents and things where the context window is important. And again, because some log lines can be multiple lines, it's surprisingly tricky to do via something like grep. So this is a small little trick which hopefully makes your life a little bit easier. And if you tell your agent to do it, it will save your context window. Now I said that this isn't just a command line, this is also in VS Code. If I hop into VS Code and look at a file here, I've renamed it so it doesn't get picked up. And you can see again, we've got the same kind of wall of text here and all these ASCII codes don't render properly from NF core pipelines. It's generally a bit tricky to read. But if I look at these other log files, you can see that they're picked up with a custom icon here, they're recognized. And we also get colors as to whether they have errors or warnings in. And if I double click the same log file, you can see we get a similar kind of rendering with nice colors, with the debug lines grayed out, and we get this nice kind of background color for warnings and for errors. Just much easier to read and find. The settings for the VS Code can be edited by clicking this button at the top of the file, which says filter log levels, or going down here to the bottom, which is also in the footer. That gives you a little drop-down menu and you can completely filter out certain log lines then. So I can get rid of the debug lines completely, or also get rid of the info. I can also save these defaults so that every log file always opens like this, both in this workspace or if you want in the global settings. And I can also go into the settings here if I go to extensions, Nextflow, and you can see the global settings are in your normal settings panel here as well. There's one extra special one here for debug opacity. So if you don't like your debug log messages being dimmed, set that to 1, and now they're the same opacity as everything else. I hope that's really helpful for you. Just a little thing to make your debugging experience a little less frustrating. If you have any ideas for other features or recommendations, do let us know. Thanks very much for watching.